everyone. I'm Jensine Bard, and welcome to Testimony, where truth is told, lives are changed, and hope is given. Revelation 12:11 tells us that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. A testimony of your story for His glory. He has spent his career addressing the most challenging topics in American society. As a New York Times best-selling author, he has written on topics ranging from education to racism to presidents to the problem of evil. He frequently debates with leading atheists and intellectuals, and also lectures on current issues, some of which we will talk about today, and some of which clearly motivated his writing of The Roots of Obama's Rage, and soon-to-be-released movie called 2016 Obama's America. As president of King's College in New York City and former Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Dartmouth and a former policy analyst for the Reagan White House, my next guest truly has achieved the American dream. But how? We will ask him that in part one of our two-part conversation today, but also ask him about his controversial book and movie, a clear wake-up call to truth before it's too late. Would you please welcome with me to testimony President of the King's College, noted scholar, speaker, and author of New York Times best-selling The Roots of Obama's Rage, and my honored guest, Mr. Dinesh D'Souza. Dinesh, welcome to testimony.
It's very good to be on the show.
Thank you. It's a wonderful honor to have you. Dinesh, your book and movie is slated to be the antidote to what Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11 was to the liberal left. But before we get to that, I would like you to take our listeners to your early roots, how you overcame your adversity as a young boy in the suburbs of Mumbai, India, and how you came to faith in Jesus Christ. Dinesh, would you please tell us that story?
I was actually raised in Bombay, now Mumbai, in India. I was raised in a Christian family. My family is originally from Goa, in the south of India. Goa used to be a Portuguese colony, and my ancestors, going quite far back, were converted by the Portuguese. But the Christianity I was raised in was not devout. It was actually not serious. It was more a social type of Christianity. And when I came to America at the age of 17 as an exchange student, that was the Christianity I brought with me. My Christianity also, weak as it was, got a little battered in college. And I lived a mostly secular life, and I also had more of a secular writing career until adult life, when I began to think again about some of these fundamental and core questions. I rediscovered my faith in adult life, began to attend a Calvary Chapel Church in California. When the New Atheists came out, writing attacks on God and Christianity, I got the idea of writing a book called What's So Great About Christianity, and also have been debating a number of the leading atheists around the country. So this has been wonderful for me. It's a chance to bring my faith and my work closer together. And so I now have sort of a bifurcated career. One foot is in the political world, and the other foot is in the world of Christian apologetics.
Well, how do you bring your Christian faith to the world of academia, and how open are they to it?
Well, I'm very open about it. I am also the president of the King's College in New York City, and it's a Christian liberal arts college. So I'm, in that sense, unabashed about my Christianity. I will say, though, that when I do debates with the atheists, we often do those debates not in the church, but on the secular campus. And those debates are conducted in the vocabulary of reason alone, so that in those debates, I don't typically refer to the Bible or Revelation or sacred scripture. Why? Because I'm talking to people who don't accept the authority of the Bible to decide the issue. So we'll often argue in terms of history and philosophy and modern science, But the Bible is not the starting point. It's kind of the end point of those discussions.
Well, and in reading your book, actually on page 11 of your book, The Roots of Obama's Rage, I was really struck by your background, Dinesh. You say you remembered growing up as a boy in the suburbs of Mumbai. You were surrounded by the, quote, helter-skelter of poverty and chaos, naked children running around, rickshaws and beggars, cows crossing the road. And you say yourself that you wondered how you even made the long journey from the world of your childhood. You grew up without a television or a telephone or even hot showers and a bathroom, to now the president of King's College and arguably one of America's most distinguished voices for today, conservative voices. How did you get there?
A lot of my political education occurred when I was a student at Dartmouth. I fell in with a group of conservative students who were talking about important issues, capitalism versus socialism, the Soviet empire abroad. This was the Reagan generation. And we had a mentor, Professor Jeffrey Hart, who was a deputy of the writer Bill Buckley, who was editor of National Review magazine. So in any case, I found myself exposed to a new set of ideas that I had never thought about before. And I found myself going back and reading great thinkers, Adam Smith, Solzhenitsyn, the economist Friedrich Hayek, and others, and just beginning to form for the first time a kind of worldview. Now, when I think about it, my values really haven't changed. I think I have the same core values that I had as a kid growing up in India. But what modern American conservatism has provided me is a vocabulary for understanding and articulating those ideas in a modern Western context.
Now, do you look back on your life as one of privilege and a rare opportunity, or is this an opportunity for anyone listening today that could do what you've done in your similar situation?
Well, the powerful aspect of the American dream, the so-called pursuit of happiness, is not that anything is guaranteed to you. It's not an automatic promise of success, but it is a possibility of it. So I think if you compare the United States and Europe, there is more security in Europe because there's a bigger welfare state. So free health care and retirement, those kinds of things are better taken care of in Europe than in America. But in America, there's more opportunity and there's more mobility. There are more guys who start out at the bottom or close to the bottom who can move to the middle or the upper middle and even do really well because the country offers those opportunities. So I would say, yeah, that and the other thing is, I think that one of the great things about America is that even the ordinary guy has a really good life. If I think about India and most other countries in the world, the rich guy is going to live well pretty much everywhere. But a country is not judged by how it looks after its affluent, but what kind of a shot it gives to the ordinary fellow, the common man. And I've always been struck, I came to America at 17, so I've been an immigrant here now for many, many years, but I'm still struck by how well the ordinary man has it in America.
When you looked at America, Dinesh, did you look at America as the possibility for the American dream, and in third world countries today, for lack of a better word, is that their same view? Is America the goal?
Well, I don't think people think of it that way, but it really is. So, for example, if you look at India, where I go pretty much every year and I talk to young Indian entrepreneurs, first of all, they are emotionally very pro-American. Some of them are not so pro-British because of the legacy of colonialism, but even there, their hostility to the British is very, very slight because they realize that even though the British may have ruled India for a couple of hundred years and taken some raw materials and some cotton, the fact of the matter is the British also left behind the English language, they left behind the legal system, they left behind parliamentary democracy, a system of laws, checks and balances. So India is able to aspire to be a superpower, enter the global economy very successfully now, largely due to that legacy of colonialism. Now, that all being said, America was not a colonialist in the same sense, and the Indian attitudes to America are very positive. And if I think about what the Indians want, is they really want the American dream. Now, they don't necessarily want America circa 2012. But I think they would love to live in America circa 1955. In other words, what the Indians want is the kind of America where prosperity can be combined with social decency. So that there's too much craziness in America now for the ordinary Indian to feel all that comfortable. But if you could give India the America that was here in the 1950s, I think the Indians would be thrilled.
Wow. One of the things I was struck also about your book is how you so beautifully dissect the difference between being a colonialist and anti-colonialist, which is what you say Obama's father was, and what Obama has brought into the White House. That seems to be his worldview that he talks about in Dreams from My Father. Not dreams of my father, but dreams from my father. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, the anti-colonial view. Now, when we say anti-colonialism, we're not talking about the anti-colonialism of the 18th century in which America fought to liberate itself as a colony of the British. That was anti-colonialism within Western civilization, where you may say, one group of Englishmen was breaking off from the parent country. We're not talking about that. The anti-colonialism we have in mind is the anti-colonialism of the 20th century, in which a lot of countries in Asia and Africa and South America and some in the Middle East were breaking free of colonial control mainly of the British, but also to a lesser degree the French and the Germans and the Dutch and so on. So anti-colonialism was this powerful movement all over the non-Western world, and it was based on the idea that colonialism was a massive system of international theft, that the rich countries became rich by looting the poor countries. And that within the rich countries you've got these greedy, selfish corporations and these wealthy individuals, the rich, and these are the economic exploiters who take advantage of the poor, not only in their own country but all over the world. So anti-colonialism becomes a system of global justice that tries to pull back the power of the West, pull back into today the power of America, but also go after the rich, go after the big bad corporations. Now, interestingly, I'm describing here anti-colonialism, right? The philosophy of Barack Obama Sr., the president's dad.
Right.
And yet, if you think about it, it seems to match pretty closely with the actions of President Obama. So it's not just that we have biographical information that's linking President Obama with his father. We do have that. Obama talks about it repeatedly. But we also have an actual match between the ideology of the father and the actions of the son.
Which is amazing to me because you don't hear about that in the liberal media. You don't even hear about that in conservative media, which is why your book is so controversial and astonishing. You just have a whole different view on really, as your book is entitled, The Roots of Obama's Rage. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Dineshs D'Souza, author of the New York Times best-selling The Roots of Obama's Rage and upcoming movie 2016, Obama's America. We're going to talk more specifically about this next week in our conversation with Mr. D'Souza. Dinesh, thank you for being with us on Testimony, and we look forward to talking with you next week. God bless you.
Thank you.
If you would like more information, you can visit our website at jensinebard.com. That's one word, JensineBard.com. Or write to us at Testimony, P.O. Box 1333, Palm Desert, California, 92261. That's P.O. Box 1333, Palm Desert, California, 92261. I'm Jensine Bard. Please join us again for Testimony.